two Democratic leaders I think we really need to keep the heat on. Hillary Clinton is the likely nominee based on all information now. And Bill Clinton, who continues to be enormously popular among Democrats, hey, he's very likable. I like him myself, but he is almost the avatar of the corporate Democrat. We need to stay on him. We need to push back against his corporate messaging. So I want to talk a little bit about Bill Clinton and about Steny Hoyer, one of the Democratic officials in the House of Representatives. So look, Bill Clinton, Steny Hoyer, they're still pushing Wall Street's platform. That's what it comes down to. They're still speaking for Wall Street. Both of them gave speeches recently which showed that the Wall Street influence over their wing of the party, which in many ways is dominant wing of the party, is growing. That it's not shrinking. They're still talking, despite the failure of austerity and deficit cutting ideologies across the board in Europe, in the United States. We have the economic evidence in the economic philosophy of emphasizing deficits, reducing deficits is hurting our economy. It's murdering the European economy. And yet they're still pushing deficits over growth. They're soft pedaling it. They're putting different wrapping paper in it, but they're still pushing it. So first of all, I want to talk about President Clinton because let's face it, he's the architect and the primary spokesman for the corporatist wing of the Democratic Party, which now holds sway, and he's the personal and political partner of the likely nominee. So right now we got these super PACs being formed, enormous money, billionaire money, other money being raised for Hillary Clinton, and we've got Pete Peterson. President Clinton here was given a glowing introduction from the son of Pete Peterson, who is the architect of the anti-Social Security movement. Pete Peterson's son, Michael Peterson, gave a glowing introduction to President Clinton at what is called the Clinton Global Initiative University in Phoenix. So President Clinton, introduced by Michael Peterson, went out and spoke to young students who were brought in to a college student event put on by the Clinton Global Initiative. And what did he talk to them about? Think about this for a second. Former president was addressing members of a generation that has been saddled with record levels of student debt and which faces the worst job market for college graduates in modern history. And he doesn't talk to them about jobs. He doesn't talk to them about personal debt. He doesn't talk to them about free education. He doesn't talk to them about decent wages for the jobs that hopefully they will get someday. He talks to them about deficit reduction. Deficit reduction. This is what former President Bill Clinton wants to talk about. To this generation that's so beleaguered with debt and unemployment, not only that, the debt and unemployment, which young people are struggling with today, is in large part the result of Bill Clinton's administration and its willingness to collaborate with Republicans and Wall Street. This is something to really consider if you are a Democrat and if you were a fan of the former president. I'm a fan of his style. I am not a fan of his policies. And, also, by the way, in the last couple of weeks, which is the time period when the speech was given, Gallup reported that millennials, members of the millennial generation, are at or near record levels of alienation and dissatisfaction from both political parties. I hear people a lot of times in the Democratic Party liberal establishment saying, why could that be? How could that be? Why don't they know what we can do for them? They ought to look to the leadership, current and former, of their own party that might provide some insight into that. And look, credit where credit is due. Clinton railed against, and I'm quoting now, a billionaire spending, meaning I assume the Koch brothers, one of the Koch brothers, he railed against a billionaire spending a fortune to run television ads against you to tell everybody how un-American you, meaning the Democrat, are. On a bipartisan basis, said Bill Clinton, we need to reject that. No, I agree with that. But you know what he didn't reject? He didn't reject Pete Peterson, the father of the guy who gave him that glowing introduction, spending literally probably $1 billion in his lifetime trying to convince you to cut Social Security when we need Social Security to be stronger than ever. Then, just briefly, Steny Hoyer, who is number two in the Democratic leadership in the House, also gave a speech saying that we needed to cut the deficit. Why? Because it was the best way to, quote, for America to get its swagger back. Now, I won't say much more about Steny Hoyer except to say that if we're really, he's still pushing a grand bargain that would cut Social Security, that would do all the things Bill Clinton was pushing, emphasize deficit reduction over getting our economy back on its feet. I reject that. I think most people who vote Democratic reject that. I think most Americans of both political parties reject that, and I think the polls show it. If Democrats want to lose the Senate as well as the House in November, they should listen to Bill Clinton and Steny Hoyer. If they want to represent the American people, make political gains, and fix this economy, they need to go populist, and they need to do it quickly. I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and this is The Zero Hour.